What are you creating in your life, and what legacy are you leaving behind? Welcome to Mindful Monday, and that's the message today is what are you creating? I recently attended the 10X Business Summit, and one of the speakers, Mr. Dawson, had a message. He said, God put us here to create. Now, I'm not trying to make any religious claims, and I don't, whatever you do believe in. I think we can all agree that makes sense to some degree, that we're here to create. We all feel better when we're creating something. And I don't just mean physically. Now, what I'm doing in engineering, yes, we are physically, I'm designing something and then that's getting physically built. So that is a literal interpretation of that. But it could also be creating a family, creating a legacy, creating inspiring people, right? Creating inspiration and motivation for people, creating an atmosphere or a community that people can thrive in, right? There's all sorts of ways you can create, and it does not just have to be a physical creation. But what I realized and what Brandon Dawson was talking about is a lot of people have this idea when you ask certain people, and I used to have this idea too, completely changed it now, but I used to have this idea of, hey, if you could have anything, and you knew you would not fail, what would you do? And a lot of people are just like, I wouldn't do anything. If I had all the money in the world, I would just do nothing. I would sit on the couch, I'd smoke pot, I'd watch TV, blah, blah, blah. I'd do nothing, right? And look, that sounds great. That sounds like a dream. Or I'd go golf. I'd golf every day. I'd be a pro at golfing. I would just learn everything I could about golfing. I'd golf every day, right? It sounds great, but you're gonna get bored. I mean, if you ever had a long vacation where that's all you did was one thing, sitting around watching TV. At least for me, this has just been my experience, but I imagine it's others as well. Doing the same thing over and over and just being lazy and having no real purpose, it gets really depressing. That weighs you down when you don't have a purpose. And so I want you to seriously think about what is it that you're creating. And are you excited? Do you have a fire lit underneath you about what you're creating? And I'm not saying you have to start a business. This could be at your day job. This could be with your family, with your friends. But what are you creating? Because that's ultimately going to be the legacy you leave behind. Do you want to be someone known as, oh, he made it big and then he just sat around and got fat and lazy? Or do you want to be someone who, they created till the day they died, right? They made a bunch of money here and then they transitioned into this, but they still created, then maybe you're giving back. Maybe you're doing volunteer events and you're donating money and you're doing a lot of charitable giving and you're spending more time with your family. You're showing up to all your kids' school events. Maybe that's what you're creating. You're creating that home life, right? But what are you creating? And what will you create when you're thinking about your goals and your dreams? What are you creating now? And then what will you create and how does that excite you? And how will that impact other people in a positive way? So this is the message today, okay? God put us here to create. So what are you creating? Regardless of religion, you could be an atheist, but what are you here? What are you here to create? I'd love to hear your comments in the chat or in the comments below. Go ahead and drop it in there. For me, I already mentioned, I'm an engineer. I'm creating things that we need for society. So, I've been creating things at my engineering company in terms of water resources, providing safe and clean access to drinking water, making sure that the wastewater and the stormwater is clean before we dump it into the ocean and kill all the fish or pollute the water bodies before people go swimming in there and then it gets people sick. So we're keeping things clean and we're helping people stay healthy. On the other side, I'm engineering and going to be starting a land development company to build apartments. And so we're going to be creating spaces where people actually live. And there's a huge demand for this, a huge need for this, right? There's a housing shortage in the country and the population is not going down, it's going up. So we're going to be building that for people. Beautiful spaces that people are proud to call their homes, right? I'm creating inspiration and accountability for my coaching clients and a community and a space where people feel safe, but they also know that I'm going to hold them accountable and keep them focused on what they're creating and what their vision and what their dreams are. So these are the things I'm creating, and I will create a family. I will create a family. One of my goals this year, it's a big goal, is to get engaged. I'm single. I'm single, but my goal is to get engaged and get engaged to the right person. Find that dream girl, do all the things we got to do to make sure it's the right fit. But ultimately, the end of the year, it's a big goal, get engaged. So I've been dating a lot. And it's really exciting. So that's another thing I'm going to be creating. So what are you creating? This is just me. I want to hear from you. And even if you don't put it in the comments, just write it down. You can feel free to share it with me if you want. And if not, if it's private, that's cool. Just write it down. Do this for yourself. Do this exercise with your family, with your significant other, and really think about, what are we creating? What legacy are we leaving behind? So that's it for today for Mindful Monday. You guys have a fantastic week, and we'll see you again next week.